earth. What does that mean? You said somebody taught you that with the Israelites were chosen, right? But it's telling you that when it comes being chosen, something comes behind that. It says that you are above all people on the earth. Superior. But when you look at our people today, are we in a superior state? How is our conditions today? It's bad, right? And that's dealing with what the curses of Deuteronomy. Have you ever heard of that? So, right, dealing in the Bible, you got to know Deuteronomy, because if somebody's telling you they're telling you that you're Israel, they're telling you that you're chosen, you have to go to Deuteronomy to be able to tell your nationality, to tell who the Israelites are, right? Get Deuteronomy 28:46. Let me show you what I mean when I say that, right?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 46. Read it out! And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder. Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed.
So when you read in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, right? From the first half of it is dealing in blessings. It's telling the children of Israel what would happen to them if they follow the commandments of the Lord, right? But when you get down to 15, it's the ultimatum. The first part is the blessings, if we listen to the Lord. But the second part is dealing in the curses. And those curses are identifying factors to show who these people are in the latter days.
That's right.
Follow me, right? Follow me.
Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Hearken means to listen. So it's saying, since we didn't want to listen to God,
to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. Verse 46, and they shall be upon thee.
It's talking about those curses as we was reading up. It says thee. Those curses are going to be upon the children of Israel for what?
For a sign and for a wonder.
For a sign and a wonder. So what does a sign do? Let me ask you, brother, you know what a sign does?
Teach, y'all.
Guys, it's a direction. It shows you something. I know this is the AC Hotel because what? It shows us that, right? So this is what the Lord is telling us. According to those curses, you're going to be able to tell who the children of Israel are in the latter days.
That's
you understand? Right. So now we're going to get a couple of those curses to show who we are and how we know we're the children of Israel, right? Get 46. Because this is what you just mentioned, but this is also in the Bible.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 46.
Read it.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
So it's saying, cursed shall you be in the city, and cursed shall you be in the field. This is what you were speaking of the state of our people. When you look around, even when you come walk around this downtown, you see all these big buildings, you see all these hotels, but who do you mostly see walking around homeless? Sleeping on the corners, smelling like fish. But I say you can't even walk down the street, and brothers ain't on a bench, got their clothes there. That's not how our people are supposed to be living. You understand? We are chosen people of God. We are special. But when we fall away from the commandments of God, this is the state. When you go a couple blocks down, well, we got drug dealing, we got murder. This is very evident when you go through the communities of Charlotte. When you go through the communities anywhere in America or the world, this is what it's telling you. This spreads across the world. It's not just something that happens here. It's not nothing specific to the city of Charlotte. We could go to California. We can go to Texas. We can go to Milwaukee. We can go up north. All people are dealing in the same things that no matter where we go. And of course, you have some people that are doing well, but as a whole, our people are doing rough out here. You understand? All right, read that second part.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
In the field. So the field is going into what? It's going into the slave fields, right? So, boom. Check this out. You said you was from the tribe of Judah. So I'm assuming you're familiar with the history of how our people got brought over here in slavery, right? How did we come over here?
We got kidnapped.
We got kidnapped. And what happened when we got kidnapped?
They took control. We didn't have control over it.
Right. And this is some of the things that happened. What our people were sold in slavery. We were brought over here in slave ships.
Right.
We were packed like sardines. Where you couldn't move. You couldn't go use the bathroom. People were using the bathroom on each other. They were vomiting. You gotta think about it. People was pregnant. All these things, and they were killing babies. All this stuff happened to us as we were brought over here in slavery on slave ships. Right. Now, did you know that particularly was one of those curses? Have you ever heard of it? Right. That's what I'm saying. Let me show you now. This is the curse that kind of seals the deal that shows that the children of Israel would come over here on those slave ships, right?
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68.
Bring it out!
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
So let's talk about now. Remember, we're still in the same chapter. We're dealing with the curses, right? It's saying that the Lord was going to bring Israel into Egypt again, right? Get the precept. To show you, I'm going to show you what Egypt means in the Bible. Because Egypt is synonymous with two different things. You understand? So you know how some things like I can say, dang, that thing clean, man. You rocking them shoes. You're not really rocking them. You know what I mean? It means like you wearing them, right? They fresh, right? So what the Bible, sometimes when you read the Bible, it goes to the same thing.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 2.
Bring it out!
I am the Lord thy God, which hath brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So what the Bible is saying that what Egypt is what synonymous, it means what house of bondage. It means slavery, you understand? So when you read in the Bible, it's saying that what Egypt sometimes means a physical place, but it also means what? Slavery. So keep that in mind when we come back to Deuteronomy 28:68, right?
Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So what the Lord is telling us that what we are going to come back into Egypt, back into slavery with ships. And that's what we read about here, right? That's what you learn about in history. That's what you learn about in your movies. How we were brought off here on slave ships into captivity. Now we're going to read about that second part because you said we were taken, we were kidnapped, we were sold. All those things are in the Bible. Read.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
So it's saying that we're not going to see our homeland again. We're not going to be able to go back, and we haven't, because we are still captives of war today. Here in America, we are not free. How y'all doing, brother? Hey, come on up. I see y'all. You see how he kind of brought y'all in. Hey, chill, sis, man. I'm gonna hop back on it. So what we're going over nationality right now, right? Did he give y'all a little bit of y'all nationality?
Yeah.
All right. So what did he tell y'all?
Judah.
So he told you about the curses.
No.
All right, so I want y'all to listen to this right here. We're going into the curse to identify who the children of Israel are today, and how that identifies with nobody else, right? Read from the top.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68.
Bring it out!
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So what? As we just pulled the precept to show that Egypt means slavery, right? So when you read in the Bible, it means a physical place, but it also means what a state or being in captivity, right? So sometimes when you read it, it's talking about a physical place. Other times when it says it, it's speaking of what? Slavery or bondage, right? All right, so keep that in mind as we read down. I'm gonna make it more clear, right?
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
That's speaking of our homeland. It's saying once we got brought over here on those slave ships or into slavery, we would not see our homeland again, right?
That's right.
So let me ask, where is your homeland? Do y'all know? You don't know. What about you, sis?
Yasharala, man.
Yasharala, right? For more common terms, well, that's Jerusalem. Jerusalem is our homeland.
That's right.
And our people don't know that. Most of the times when we ask our people, what's our homeland? What's our homeland? What's the most common thing they say? Africa, right? But Africa is a continent, man. It's like 50 countries over there. So what country are our people particularly from? They don't realize that Jerusalem is actually part of Africa. It's not separate. There's no such thing as the Middle East. That's a term that came up with like in the 60s and 70s, right? That's a new term. Before that, it was all considered the Suez Canal. They built it. That's a man-made canal they made to separate what Africa from what you would call it nowadays the Middle East. To make us think that it's two separate continents. No, it was one whole landmass. They did that in 1860 or something, right? They built that whole canal. All right, finish that up. 268.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68.
Bring it out!
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Right, he's gonna bring us into slavery again.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
And once we got brought into slavery, we're not gonna see our homeland again, right? I want y'all to follow, right?
And there ye shall be sold to your enemies.
It says, and then once you got off those slave ships, it says you were going to be sold to your enemies. That's what the Bible is telling us. It says that we were going to go on slavery on slave ships. We were going to be sold to our enemies for what? For what were we going to be sold for?
For bondmen and bondwomen.
That's what happened to our ancestors. We were sold for bondmen and bondwomen. They
That's
sold
right.
your children. They sold your mothers. They sold your children. They killed and hanged you if you tried to fight back. This is our history. This is what the Bible is telling us. And they tell us is identifying factors to show who the children of Israel are today. You understand? Read.
And no man shall buy you.
Because what we've had people try to say this, what Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, these were great men. They stood up for what the revolution of our people, trying to get us some semblance of freedom, some semblance of what humanity here in America. But what we don't understand is that's never going to happen, because it's always a dominant race, and the Bible says who's that dominant race is. And if we're not on top, we're going to be on bottom. We're going back to Deuteronomy 7:6.
Teach y'all.
Watch this, because y'all missed it. I want you to understand what it's saying here, because what the Lord is telling us something. He's saying either you're gonna rule or you're gonna be on bottom. Either you're gonna be niggas or you're gonna be slaves or you're gonna be kings and queens. And that's what the Lord is telling us. Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 6.
Bring it out.
For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
This is still speaking of the children of Israel, right? It's saying that we're gonna be holy. That means separate. Read.
The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
So what he's saying, that you're supposed to be special. You're supposed to be above all people of the earth. You understand?
Right.
And so what? So he's saying that what, if you listen to me, then what? This is how you get there. Listen here, Deuteronomy 28:1. Deuteronomy 28:1. Because we read the curses, but it's good and bad. The Lord is not unjust to have us just in slavery, to bring us over here in captivity, to have us sold. He didn't bring these things here for our destruction. And who got that in Baruch? He didn't bring these things upon us for our destruction. Somebody get that. 4 and 6. All right, read this first.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 1.
Bring it out.
And it shall come to pass if unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Read it again from the top.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Right, so this is saying that this is the flip side. It's saying what? If we listen to the Lord, he's going to tell us what's going to happen. Remember what he said that was special? He said that was above all people. He said we're supposed to have rulership above all nations on all this earth. But as I was speaking with the sister, that's not the state of our people today, you understand? We are in a lower state. We're living in the slums and ghettos. But that's not how the Lord ordained it. Because when you read this, it tells us what our state is supposed to be on this earth.
To observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth, and all these blessings shall come on thee.
Right, so it says he was going to set us on high, and all these blessings. Give me where it's 17 before these blessings. But I say because what it's saying that what we were going to be above all nations. You see how the so-called white man rules the world today. You can't go into any country where it's not some white presence, where they don't have some hand in this or that, where they set the rules, how they push democracy here and there. You see the gay agenda that they're pushing out, right? But I say because what that is against our people, because they know, hey, Jay, Israel, they like to have sex and they like to have babies. And when they in captivity, they do that a lot. And when they do that, what they're gonna eventually outnumber us. These are all things put in place because what they have to move crafty with our. You got it? This is what I'm talking. Just get Luke 4 and 6. So what the point is, when the Lord had a purpose for us, He set us to be on high. He set us to be the greatest nation on this earth. But on the other hand, we are in the curses right now. And a lot of times we see these things, right? And we feel a type of way about it. Some people, they take it as despair. They don't like to go into this history. They're like, hey, I don't want to watch those slave movies. I don't want to know nothing about that, what happened to our people. I don't want to hear about how our mothers were killed, babies were cut out of their stomachs, how they fed our children to dogs. These are things that happened. It's common history when you look into it, even though they're trying to do away with it. Like, for instance, have y'all seen in Florida, y'all seen them trying to do away with teaching African American history? Have y'all seen that? Y'all seen that? Why do you think that is?
Teach y'all.
They want us to die out. Yet, that is a point of it, but them not teaching African American history is that what, so you don't know the history to come back to the Bible. Because what in those curses, what does those curses, like what do those go to? Those go to the times of slavery. All the stuff that you read about in the curses, those were events that happened in slavery. And as we read, they identify who the children of Israel are, right? So you got to think about the timeline, right? So as our people that go into school, say for instance, they taught us our true history. They told you about slavery. They taught you about coming over in slave ships. Then what, as y'all doing right now, y'all just walking down the street. What y'all going to get something to eat? You got something to eat, right? And I Luke 20, get Isaiah 51:8. Because I want to show you why they're doing this, right? Because our people are going to be out roaming, they're going to be out moving, then they're going to come down and they're going to see brothers in purple, right? And they're going to say, hey, what these brothers over here talking about? What are they talking about? Because they have the mic, they loud, they act like they know something, they got the Bible. I ain't never seen nobody here teach the Bible like this, right? But what they understand is what y'all are going to get interested. Not everybody, but a few. And then when you get interested, you're going to come up, hey, what are y'all teaching out of that Bible? And this is what we're teaching. Read.
Isaiah 51, verse 8.
Bring it out.
For the moth shall eat them up like a garment.
58:1. 58:1.
Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression.
Jeremiah 17:4. So what it tells us to come out, we're supposed to come out and show our people their transgressions. Because when we show them our transgressions, that is the reason why we went into slavery, you understand? We are, all this stuff that happened to us, the state that we went in, the state that we are in today, is because we went against the commandments of God. All the black on black crime, us getting shot down in the streets, us not knowing our homeland. Like if I asked all y'all, where's our homeland? We don't know. We were African American, we believe all this, right? And it's a reason because of this scripture.
Hey, go to Psalms chapter 83.
Wait,
Because he said, in Florida, right? What did you say in Florida?
Yeah.
They're trying to do away with African American history, right? When we got off them slave ships, these are the things that they called you. They called you niggas, they called you African American, they called you black, they called you Hispanic, they called you everything except for a child of God.
Right.
They called you a savage, they called you colored, they called you Afro-American, they called you everything to keep you from knowing who you are today.
That's
They don't
right.
even teach you this in school. They don't teach you this in your churches at all.
That's
Go ahead and read that. And it's recorded in the Bible that they're going to have a hatred for you. And they're not going to teach you your true heritage. Why? Because they're over there claiming to be you.
That's right.
They in your land right now claiming to be you, and y'all don't even know it.
Right.
Instead, we over here killing each other. We're
Right.
selling drugs to one another.
Right.
Our women are committing abortions at an alarming rate.
Right.
All these things is happening in our communities. And who gonna fix it? They not gonna fix it for us.
Right.
Only we gonna do it.
Right.
And what has the solutions? The Bible. Go ahead and read that. Psalms chapter 83, verse 2.
Read it out.
For lo, thy enemies make a tumult. You hear what the Bible called them? They say your enemies make a tumult, not your friends, not your buddies. A tumult is an angry gathering. They're gonna come together and they're gonna talk about you.
That's right.
They're gonna talk about what they gonna do with you, how they gonna treat you in this society. Go ahead. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. The Bible says they have taken crafty counsel against you. Crafty counsel. They're doing away with teaching African American history in Florida. They're trying to do away with the Bible because the Bible has your true heritage in it. Okay? What's that thing that they're doing with that teacher? The Southern, not the Southern Poverty Law. Don't worry about it. Keep going. And consulted against thy hidden one. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. This is the point right here. They consulted against the hidden ones. You are the hidden ones. Okay, you are the lost sheep, the 12 tribes. But if we didn't come out here and teach y'all this, y'all wouldn't know that you were Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Manasseh, so forth and so on. Y'all wouldn't know that. You are the hidden ones because y'all ever see the movie Roots? What they do to Kunta Kinte? Do y'all remember what they did to him when they tried to break him? They tied him up to a tree, right? And they kept beating him with the leash with the whip until what? Until he conformed to their names. Right. Okay? They changed it to Toby, but they changed your nationality to what? To African American, to black, to Hispanic. They changed your name to all of these things. They didn't just change it, they forced it into you.
That's right.
Now you're generating all to do what? All to do what? Read that part again. Crafty counsel. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. That's crafty counsel right there. This is what they're doing to our people. Go ahead. And consulted against thy hidden ones. They conformed and consulted against you. Go ahead. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. The whole point was to cut y'all off from being a nation. So what? That the name of Israel may be in no more remembrance. Which one of y'all is walking around here calling y'all the tribe Israel, the nation of Israel, or the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Benjamin? Who's doing that? None of our people doing that. Except for you, my brother. I know that you know. But majority of our people are not doing that.
That's right.
Okay, them Jewish people, you can't even find the word Jewish in here.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
Right.
They are the synagogue of Satan, taking your nationality, taking your culture, your heritage. They turn your Lord and Savior to look like this. Who is that? Is this guy right here? He's supposed to come back and save you. His people did this to you.
Right.
You ever see the movie Emancipation with Will Smith? This is who he's depicting. This man right here. Look at his back. Look what they did to you. It said your enemies take it to mold.
Right.
Your enemies come against you.
Right.
Your enemies come to make you to be the hidden ones.
That's
okay.
right.
Read it again. Psalms 83, verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. It says, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. So now you no longer know who you are. All right, you don't even remember, you don't even consider who you are.
Right.
Okay, we walking around calling ourselves niggas, calling ourselves spics. Well, we don't call ourselves spics, but we call ourselves Latino and all these other things. We do call ourselves niggas though. Real nigga this, real nigga that. Bad B this, bad B that.
Right.
Everything outside of what God called you.
Right.
That's the problem with our people. Because if we can't have that much respect, how are we going to teach our children to love one another? You got young teenagers murdering each other out here, right here in the city of Charlotte. Okay, it's happening all over. Our own people. You got police officers that look like us, that's murdering us in Memphis. In Memphis, that look like us and they murdering us.
Right.
What happened to the protect and serve? What happened? That's because our people don't see the black Messiah within themselves. They don't see Christ within themselves. All right, they don't see the true brotherhood within themselves. They have not learned the Lord. They have not learned the laws of God.
Right.
Watch this. Get Leviticus. Hold that. Get Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. If they would just learn this one law, we can eradicate the crime in our communities.
Teach.
The hatred that we have for one another.
Teach. That's right.
The problem is our people don't know who they are for one, and they don't know the laws of God. Because the laws of God is the solution to fixing our community.
That's right.
Go ahead, read that.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17.
Read out.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart.
You should not hate your brother in thy heart. That means no hatred, talking about him, gossiping about him, murmuring about him, being envious or covetous towards them. Okay, you should not hate your brother in your heart or murdering them.
Right.
All right. Now I don't know how true it is, but they say that there's a backstory to that. That one of the cops knew the woman that the brother was messing with. You know what I mean? And they had a child together, and he didn't like that. Now I don't know how true that is, but if it is, that's a form of hatred. That's why marriage is supposed to, that's why we got to follow the laws of God. That's why marriage is supposed to be honorable. There's not no such thing as boyfriend and girlfriend.
Right.
Okay? Sneaky links and all of that. You're not supposed to be doing that thing.
Teach.
Otherwise, you got fornication, you got adultery, and ultimately it leads to hatred.
Right.
Those are the things that we have to abstain from. Go ahead.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
And that's what the brothers out here doing today. We rebuking, meaning we correcting our people. Because at one point we thought we was African Americans.
Right.
At one point we thought we was black.
Right.
But no, you are a special people, a holy generation.
That's right.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
That's
But
right.
our people don't know that, because right now we're on the bottom. Why? Because we refuse to keep God's laws.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is